Monica, I'm here at Tower-Menson Township, Republican candidate Dan David's home turf. Dan David was here earlier today at this polling place to vote. I spoke to some of the voters today who say they take their civic duty seriously, so much so that poll workers said that there was a steady stream of voters throughout the day. In fact, one stat that we're getting from one of the poll workers is that they saw a 69% turnout of what they saw in the 2016 presidential election. Again, that is a significant number when we're talking of a midterm election turnout. Women from across the country came together here in D.C. not only to support women's rights, but to protest against the Trump administration. Governor Phil Murphy delivered his first State of the State address, highlighting several key issues from legalizing recreational marijuana to investing into infrastructure. But he began his address by calling for a change to corporate tax incentive programs. And what kind of support would you like to see from the state and federal levels?
In an ideal world, we begin to understand that pre-K education is as important as kindergarten. But remember, Indiana's behind the curve. We were pretty late to the game in getting all-day kindergarten in the first place.
The aftermath of Hurricane Florence continues to ravage the Carolinas. While Florence made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane, the rating scale only measures wind speed and did not account for the unprecedented level of flooding. And Riverview Kennel has already helped one South Carolina family out who had to evacuate because of Hurricane Florence by taking in these two dogs. Yesterday was Veterans Day, a time to honor service to the nation. It's a day that honors all veterans now, but started as Armistice Day after the end of World War I. So in a Now Toronto article, Sarah Polley talked about how it felt to release this film in the midst of a movement that is going on right now with regards to Roe v. Wade and reproductive rights of women in the U.S. In a nutshell, she said, just like the stakes are high for the women in the film, the stakes are similarly high for women and securing reproductive rights. So I would love to hear your perspective on this.
I voted in Canada recently, and I've always found it a very moving experience to cast my vote. And in this situation, we're casting a vote that is going to determine everything about our lives.
Beauty Blender has now grown to be an international company. I mean, you can be in Australia and buy a beauty blender. But how did this all begin? Were there any challenges you faced in the beginning?
When we said this is a keep sponge, you know, reuse it, wash it, we're charging $20 for it, people were like, why would we want to do that? I mean, when you can get a bag of wedges.
Cheers. Cheers. I can't even tell that there's squash. Mind you, I love squash, but you can't even tell. How is the It's Bigger Than Me campaign working to change that current narrative and the treatment options that are there for people living with obesity?
Well, first of all, I think it's creating a community, because this has nothing to do with promoting a drug, selling something. We're only selling community, you know, we're selling connection. We're selling understanding.
Beauty Blender is a woman-owned business, which in 2019 is still a big deal. What advice do you have from your experience for any budding female entrepreneurs that are watching this?
It has to be your passion, because you have to dedicate the time, the effort, the financial backing, and you have to believe in it.
So with Valentine's Day season upon us, we're going to see a lot of rom-coms, but I want to know from you, what sets Maybe I Do apart?
I think what sets Maybe I Do apart is it's an adult film. I mean, it's about adults who are grappling with their marriages, their issues, and it's unusual in that regard. And then there's also the younger couple, right? And what they're going through in the very same kind of thing, but different because they're young.
He's bringing the sound of New Orleans right here to the Lehigh Valley. Easton native and Phillipsburg area resident Jeremy Joseph is here to talk about taking his music to the streets of Easton. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. All right, well, as they say in New Orleans, laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll, right?
Very good. You said that well.
Thanks.
All right.
Take it away, Jeremy.
Okay, so what we're talking about is the Second Line Parade is what we're doing in Easton.
Thanksgiving is tomorrow and Christmas is just around the corner. You know what that means, plenty of good food. While flying a drone can be a fun hobby, there are several practical applications, like aerial photography. Historically, the work of female artists has not always made it to the national stage. That's why Lehigh University put together a special art exhibit called The Future is Female. Yeah, your inner sass comes out.
Yes.
So Kim, you have a star-studded list of clients. I saw that you've styled Shakira's hair and Beyonce's hair at their respective Super Bowl halftime shows. How can people at home replicate their voluminous hairstyles that won't fall flat?
Well, what a great tip for doing that is, everybody of course knows about dry shampoo. You can also set your hair with hot rollers because it makes your hair very voluminous when you set it with those. It has a lot of curls.